Alpha Fam, Coach Jam here with another market update. Before we begin, I do want to say that nothing in this video is financial advice. Everything's for educational purposes only. It's just my own analysis on the market. Also, if you're new to the Alpha Syndicate channel, if you could please give us a like, comment, and a subscribe. We really do appreciate the support. So let's get into the market, guys. So we're starting to see a little bounce, and what I think we've been seeing right now over the last few days with this little bit of red is just the amount of inefficiency that occurred on this bounce. When you get these bounces, guys, and they bounce as aggressive as they do, you're always going to have a lot of leftover buy orders. You're always going to have a lot of liquidity left down here, and the algo will literally do anything it can to come back down and sweep those. We mentioned it the other day, but there was this massive fair value gap right here, and as long as this fair value gap pretty much held this general range, this is exactly what we wanted to see, and I expected this to happen. If you come over here, guys, and you look at the springs on the Wyckoff, you always get these bounces, and they always result in these massive inefficiency candles, and they usually result in a pullback to that general area to retest to make sure it's actually support. From there, that's when you get the bounce, and that's what I think we're starting to see right now, guys. We're starting to see this bounce. We're starting to move out of this general zone, and honestly, we need to move out of here, guys. I said it the other day. We don't want to hang out here. We need to start moving out of this zone, because if we don't, then what will end up happening, or what I'm scared of, are two things. One, we just make this big box. So we're just in this big general box, and we end up just chopping around in this box for the next few months, all right? And that's going to, honestly, I don't want to see that happen, because I think that would really, honestly, drive the last of the participants that are here probably pretty crazy if we just chop sideways. Because the problem with these sideways moves, guys, is every time we're at the top of the box, everybody gets happy, and especially starts with deviating out of it. Everybody thinks we're going to break out, and then everybody gets sad when we get to the bottom of the box. If we do in fact create one of these and we start doing these chops, guys, this is going to be the best opportunity in the world to have this is when you need to create a strategy, guys. And what I mean by that is every time you get one of these bounces at the bottom of these boxes, you're going to be able to DCA into your favorite tokens at pretty much bear market lows, all right? And the reason why this is important is, let's say that you were unfortunate enough that you bought in, let's say that when you bought into the tokens that you're in right now, we'll just use Solana, for example. Let's say you bought in right here, all right? Now your average right now is like $1.50. Well, if you get to buy in this box, and let's say you get to buy Solana, and you do this the right way, and this thing comes down, every time Solana comes to, $75 a piece, you buy, and you do it for the next few months, you can significantly change the trajectory of your trade. You're going to be able to lower your average significantly enough, and then when this thing actually does break out, because, again, crypto's not going anywhere, guys. It's not going anywhere. It's not dying. It's had a very rough year, but if you see the amount of adoption that's happening, we're going to get into some of this stuff that's just been announced the last couple of days, you would understand nothing is dying, all right? It's just had a rough year. But what will happen is, as this thing does this, when this thing breaks out and takes off, you're going to not only have the best average, but you're going to probably be in profit pretty much the entire trade. So that way, when you do have some of these, pullbacks along the way, you're not freaking out, because it's not the same as, having a pullback where now you're back in the red. You'll be able to withstand them. It's going to give you a little bit more confidence in your trade. And honestly, guys, this is what you want to do. You want to build positions in these buy boxes at bear market lows, all right? And you want to try to accumulate as many blue chip assets as possible before the next move up happens. And it's going to happen, guys. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And this is the reason why patience always pays in these markets. This is the reason why you have people like, Warren Buffett say, the market is nothing but literally the transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. That's all it is, all right? If you have patience, you create a strategy, you get the right information, and you band together with people that can help you, give you the support that you need. This is why joining these, and I don't even care if you don't join Alpha Syndicate. This is why joining communities is so important, because having people that you can talk to and be able to compare ideas with, and to be able to look at things, because sometimes your analysis and the way you approach the market might be radically different from somebody else's, and they might point something out that you didn't see. this is the reason why I believe in masterminds, the reason why I believe in working together, and then the reason why I believe in these communities so much, guys. And again, this isn't even like you don't even have to join Alpha Syndicate. If you got another community you like, but do whatever you can do over the next course of the next few months to get yourself in a position where you're able to take advantage of this, guys. You're going to look back at this in 5 or 10 years from now, and you're going to be very upset that you didn't do more to buy more blue chip assets. You're going to look at some of these prices of these things. You're going to see one day, guys, a $500 Solana. You're going to see a $200 SUI. You're going to see a $500,000 Bitcoin, and you're going to look back at this and say, damn it, I messed up. I had a chance. I should have taken advantage of it. And I, whatever the case might be, didn't actually act upon the opportunity. You don't want to do that, guys. So let's look at a couple of other things. Obviously, I always like to look at the TradFi markets. We are getting a pretty good bounce from both the NASDAQ and the futures S&P. And honestly, guys, I'd say it all the time. I usually try to look at these things as a general parameter on where I think the market's going to go that day. Today's Thursday. I honestly, it's not a bad day of the week. Wednesdays are usually the most bullish, but Thursdays, Fridays typically aren't as bad as, like Mondays, for instance. So it wouldn't be surprising if we don't see a continuation today. And again, guys, we have a lot of really interesting stuff that was just announced. And it also shows you like where the sentiment is in the market. BlackRock made a partnership yesterday with Uniswap. Uniswap pumped like 40% on the news and then retraced the entire move. People are probably wondering, like, why? Because people's sentiment is so bad that they're looking for any exit pump that they can get to basically exit their tokens because they're still fearful, guys. People are still worried and still scared. And the way you can look and tell on this, guys, is honestly the most obvious is just look at this. This is USDT dominance, guys. And I've said this several times. I said if it broke past this level, I would have to conclude we are definitely either in a bear market or going into a bear market. Or, again, this is the reason why I said we need to complete the spring, because we have come and extended way higher than I ever would have expected us, especially being where we're at. You can see last time we came in this zone, guys, I had it circled up here. This is the bear market, all right? And we're up in that zone. You can see this was basically the runs from the last cycle. And then once it broke above this zone, this was the bear market, guys. And we're there. We're in that zone, all right? So honestly, guys, and we've never, even if you look at this, we've never ever broken above this, even on the worst of the worst. So we're already up there, guys. USDT dominance can do two things at this point. And what I do think it does, because it's at a major area of resistance, this thing starts to roll over, all right? And starts to give us some relief in the markets. Or what it could do is what it did over there, and it goes back to that if we start to chop sideways for a few months, is we create a box up here like we did up here. And we're basically just chopping around in this box for a while, all right? And in this box, we're in here for, X amount of months. We're chopping around, and then eventually this thing is going to break, guys. And when it breaks, I think it's going to break fast, and I think the move is going to catch a lot of people off guard. It's just going to happen one day. And people aren't going to be able to predict it. Nobody's going to know what's going to happen. I do think that it's going to coincide with Jerome Powell being replaced. You know what I'm saying? So, like, going into March and April, I think the markets start to really rally behind that idea. So, if you can think, for the next 2 or 3 months, so if we got February, March, April, we chop sideways and all of a sudden we start to break out in the, because, again, the markets are always looking for a North Star, guys. They look for a guiding light. They're looking for a direction that they can place bets on for future things that occur in the future. All right, guys, that's how the market works. So people are going to start, it's just like, rate cuts. It's the whole buy the rumor, sell the news thing. People, if everybody knows that there's going to be rate cuts coming and it's 100% confirmed, those rate cuts get priced in before the event. Same thing's going to happen with Jerome Powell getting replaced, guys. I think the market's going to get excited behind that. And then also there's other things that we have to keep in mind too. We still got the tariffs are still, the revenue from those are still supposed to be giving out stimulus checks this year. I just think that there's a lot of really bullish things that are going to be happening for 2026 because we have midterms, guys. Trump is going to do whatever he can to pump these markets for midterms. And if he can't, then I think that it will be a bad thing. But I'm very confident Trump's ability to be able to pump markets. He can make a tweet and pump the market 20% in either direction, guys. don't fade that. You know what I mean? Trump does not want these markets to roll over. He wants to continue to break records so he has ammo to go into midterms. Always remember that. So let's look at a couple other things. We can see gold has not been, I'm not going to say it's struggling right now, but you can see it's having a little bit of a red day. Honestly, guys, I would love to see gold and silver kind of come up to these ranges right here and then roll over. All right. It's not that I hate gold and silver. I just think that the trades have extended for a long time. And I just think that it's time for some of that liquidity to rotate down the risk curve. I do. Because you can still see the same thing is also happening for silver. And honestly, guys, like I said, I would love for these things to, stop making higher highs, and start to roll over. Like, if this thing fails to make another, you can see here, failed to make another higher high, so it made a higher low. If this thing makes a lower low, and then we start to get some of this rollover and these things start to break down, I think that we're going to see some of this liquidity start to rotate into things like Bitcoin, crypto, risk on assets, and stuff like that. I'm a little shocked at how extended some of these trades have gotten, but I'm going to say this too, FOMO is a real thing. So if FOMO continues, the market can definitely push for a little bit further, guys. But with that being said, guys, I'm just looking at things and taking it one day at a time. I am very interested to see how the U.S. market opens today, guys. We are definitely in an interesting part in the market because the crazy thing is this massive disconnect I've seen between adoption and all of the really great things that are happening and price action. It's a massive disconnect. You got like strategic partnerships and all these crazy things being announced, and markets aren't really reacting in price with it. Just shows you where the sentiment is. But when you have sentiment like that, guys, it usually is the best opportunity. You just have to do your due diligence and make sure you're getting the right information. And if you want to start learning this stuff, guys, if you want to understand how we combine these things together, the macro, the fundamentals, the technical analysis, how we combine it together to try to give us an edge over the market. And if you also want a place that where you can network, get coached, mentored, and have a group of people that you can actually, bounce ideas back and forth with, talk to, and network with, click the link below, guys. We'll see you inside.